I got some literature at one of the carts.
Yeah.
I went back and they wrote down on a card, "Look at Enjoy Life Forever" on your website. And
well, I don't really. I'm partially sighted, you see, so it's hard for me with technology and websites. I struggle with, so I'm all. It's like I've rung you on a landline now. I haven't even got a a mobile. You know, I'm a bit behind when it comes to this technology. Anyway, go on. Let's see what Carry on.
Well, I'm reading your book, Enjoy Life Forever.
Yeah.
I've just got questions about the book.
Such as.
Well, I can only do one thing at a time. I've read various lessons, and I've got questions about various lessons. But, I mean, would you not be the person to speak to if you're partially sighted? Maybe I should speak to someone who's more familiar with the book.
It's possible. I just thought he passed the number on to me. It's probably, with me not being as active as many others, he probably thought I could deal with whatever your questions were. I didn't know they were specific about the book.
Well, I'm not gonna. Why else would I talk? Why else would I have a conversation with you? It's not to, give you a bunch of flowers and say I love you.
Yeah.
I'm reading your book. Obviously, I want to discuss the book. Surely, wouldn't that be common sense?
Okay. I mean, we do have a program of Bible study where you can go through it with the person that you're having a Bible study with. Has that ever appealed to you?
Right. Can we do that now?
Well, as I say,
so you're not prepared. You're phoning me up, but you're not prepared.
Yeah, I just got this call second down, and I wanted to, if you like, I'm a bit curious of who you are, what you are, and what it's new to me. You know what I mean? All this, I don't really know where you're coming from. I'm trying to find out. I mean, why? If you got this book from the carts. Didn't you go back to the carts and ask them the question?
They don't seem to know anything about the book. They just say go to jw.org and do some research.
Oh, right. So would you be prepared then for a Bible study with someone, a Jehovah's Witness?
What is that? I'm not signing up. It's not like joining a book club where I'm signing up to buy so many books for so many months for so many years. I'm simply interested. Look, I'll show you the first question I've got. Lesson 19. Are Jehovah's Witnesses real Christians? The introduction says, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we believe that we are real Christians. Why? Consider the basis for our beliefs, the name that sets us apart, and the love we have for one another.
Let me just see if I can find that. That's the Enjoy Life Forever, yeah?
Yes, lesson 19 on page 79.
Oh, you've jumped right from beginning to lesson 19. So have you read up to all that then, or you just picked particular chapters out?
I picked particular chapters out. I didn't read the first 5 chapters. I thought they were a waste of my time.
Wait a minute. Have you got the book? Or have you got the booklet?
Lesson 19 is in the book.
Right, lesson 19 in the book. Give me a little bit of time to find it. Just hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Right. Let's see. I didn't know. You see, you didn't tell me a lot about. Just hang on a minute. I'm trying to find it with a spyglass. Lesson 19.
I did mention very clearly I was reading Enjoy Life Forever. I had questions from the book. I made that very clear. You should always be prepared. It gives a good impression if you're prepared. Yeah, well,
I didn't know what exactly. He didn't give me the full SP, According to this, I got section 1, lesson 12. Goes up to lesson 12. You're telling me lesson 19.
Yes, it's in section 2. It's on page 79.
Oh, right, just a minute. Page 73. Just hang on a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Just putting the phone down a second while I find it.
Sure.
Right, I've got page 73. Right, so where do we go from here, you say?
It's lesson 19, page 79.
Oh, you're at page 79 now?
For the 4th time on page 79. Lesson 19, the introduction.
I'm just going to get a better spyglass.
Yeah, sure.
I've just got... I've got to bring it right up to me.
Wouldn't it be better for you to speak to me with somebody else who's better sighted? I mean, isn't this just common sense? Isn't this just common sense?
Well, I don't know. I can't answer for that, to be honest with you, what he was thinking. Right, I'm on page 73, if you'd like to guide me now. Page 73, right, then where do you say?
It's lesson 19 on page 79. It's the introduction.
Right, so I need page 79, basically.
Yeah.
Right, yes, I'm getting it. I've seen lesson 8. Right, 19. Are Jehovah's Witnesses real Christians? Right. So what's your question again then?
It says, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we believe that... I'll start over.
We believe that we are real Christians. Why? Consider the basis for our beliefs, the name that sets us apart, and the love we have for one another. Right. Okay, so I've read that. Yeah, go on.
I want to know, do Jehovah's Witnesses believe that there are real Christians in other groups who are not Jehovah's Witnesses and will never be Jehovah's Witnesses? I used to go to a Baptist church and then a Pentecostal church many years ago. I believe there are some real Christians in those groups. I don't believe everyone is a real Christian, but I believe there are some real Christians in those groups. Could you please explain, do you believe there are real Christians in other groups?
The way I've been brought up I mean, I joined when I was 30 odd. I'm now 72, about 38 years, and I deduct it in different ways. True Christians, from what I know of the Bible and the Scriptures, true Christian, where you can separate the true from the false, if you like. The true Christians will not go to war, right? That's number one. They will not get involved in politics.
Jehovah's Witnesses, the Watchtower Bible and Tract, let me correct that, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society has been involved in politics and warfare for over a century.
Well, how have they been involved in... Well, explain that to me then. How have they been in warfare and politics?
Yeah, I can happily do that, but could you please just answer my question? It says, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we believe that we are real Christians. Do you believe there are real Christians in other groups?
I believe that Jehovah's Witnesses are real Christians.
That's not my question. I understand that. Your book is saying that Jehovah's Witnesses are real Christians. I get it. You don't need to explain that to me. My question is, do you believe there are real Christians in other groups who are not Jehovah's Witnesses?
Well, to put it bluntly, I'd have to say no, to be honest with you. Although, it doesn't mean to say, like, someone like yourself that's been brought up a Baptist or a Pentecostal. I
wasn't brought up a Baptist.
Well, whatever.
You didn't listen. I said I attended a Baptist church briefly. The last one I attended for about 6 months, and I gave up, never to go back. A load of rubbish.
Right.
And before that, I attended another Baptist church briefly for a couple of months. But I was not brought up a Baptist, so I didn't say that. You've read that because you didn't listen carefully to me.
Yeah. Well, the way I'd answer that, as I say, is that it doesn't mean that someone that belongs to the Baptist church, let's say, or whatever, a different belief, and then becomes a Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's not my question. I'm not asking you if somebody is a Baptist today, but in 10 years' time, they will become a Jehovah's Witness. And therefore, you can say today, Freddie here, who goes to the Baptist church, he will become a real Christian in 10 years' time when he converts to Jehovah's Witnesses. That is not my question. My question is right now, at this very instant in time, are there millions or thousands of real Christians in groups other than Jehovah's Witnesses who are never going to be Jehovah's Witnesses?
But we're never going to be Jehovah's Witnesses. I would say no.
Okay.
Definitely not.
I seem to read that in your Watchtower, 15th of November 1981, page 21, which says, quote, and while now the witness yet includes the invitation to come to Jehovah's Organization for Salvation.
Right.
So it seems to imply that salvation involves going to Jehovah's Organization, by which I think you mean the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Would that be right?
Yeah, that's what the Watchtower. I just know it as the Watchtower, Watchtower Bible Tract Society,
Which verse says that you become a real Christian by going to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society?
I don't think any verse says it, does it?
then isn't that just a man-made teaching?
Is that just a man-made teaching? No, I think this, the simple ways of deducting it without being, intricate like you are. I've just told you for a fact, right, that Jehovah's Witnesses do not get involved. You said to me as well that they got involved in warfare. No, you listen to me a minute.
Yeah.
I've listened to you. You listen to me a minute. Explain to me what you said, that Jehovah's Witnesses have been involved in warfare. Explain that to me.
Okay. All right. In the Watchtower, and I'll have to find this Watchtower for...
Seems to me that Watchtower, you're trying to prove something. I don't know. I get the feeling that
you asked me to explain, and I'm trying to explain, and you cut me off. You have to allow me to speak if you ask me a question, sir.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Go on, carry on.
The Watchtower, November 2016, page 29, paragraph 9, which I'm going to try and find now, if I can find it. It admits, and this is one of a number of proofs that I can give you, that the Bible students were not neutral during the First World War, but they were active during the First World War. They took part in what was called a National Day of Prayer. Although they're rather dishonest, they didn't admit that their president, Judge Rutherford, or Joseph Franklin Rutherford, took part in this National Day of Prayer. He went onto a raised platform and he went on his knees next to Catholic priests and Protestant clergymen, and he prayed for victory in the First World War next to Catholic priests and Protestant clergymen. I found the article. So they don't admit to that, and they don't admit that in the pages of the Watchtower, Zion's Watchtower, 15th of May 1918, page 6257, that particular Watchtower encouraged American Bible students to buy Liberty bonds, also known as Liberty loans, where you were supporting the American war effort. I've got the article in front of me. Watchtower.
No, I believe you.
Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Check everything out.
I believe you, because we've been through all. I mean, exactly. They used to wear the cross, I think, at turn of century, until they realised there was lots of... You see, we have a scripture. There's a scripture that says the light gets brighter as the day goes on. But the thing is, we admit our mistakes and we rectify whatever mistakes. Other religions will just carry on with tradition. Whereas you'll find Jehovah's Witnesses admit where they've gone wrong in the past, which they did, even, like you say, if they were not entirely fighting, but they helped the war effort, let's say, by tarmacking the roads for trucks to go on. All this, but they wouldn't do it now, but it was a learning lesson. And you're going back...
the Watchtower is still involved in warfare and politics now, I can prove that. But let me just do one thing at a time slowly. Let me read this Watchtower, November 2016, page 29, paragraph 9. Not everything the Bible students did during the period between 1914 and 1919 was in harmony with scriptural principles. Although they were sincere, the brothers did not always have a proper view of subjection to the secular governments. Therefore, as a group, they were not always neutral with regard to the war effort. For example, when the President of the United States decreed that May 30th, 1918 would be set aside as a day of prayer for peace, the Watchtower urged Bible students to join in the observance, and my point here is that's dishonest. It's true, but it's a half-truth, because they don't point out that the president of the Watchtower, Joseph Franklin Rutherford, went onto a raised platform and went down on his knees praying next to Catholic priests and Protestant clergymen for victory in the First World War. That, sir, is not neutrality. Then the article...
It says that in the Watchtower.
It doesn't, because it's dishonest.
Oh, right. Well, how do you know about that then? If it's
because you'll find out about it from people connected to the Watchtower, such as Macmillan in his book Faith on the March, and other similar books by similar people who were senior in Jehovah's Witnesses. They comment about Rutherford praying during the 1918 National Day of Prayer for victory. The article continues, some brothers purchased bonds to provide financial assistance to the war effort, and a few even went into the trenches with guns and bayonets. Again, that's true, but it's a half-truth. It's really dishonest. Because if you go to the Zion's Watchtower, it used to be called Zion's Watchtower because it was called before it was called the Watchtower. 15th of May 1918, page 6257, you'll find that the Watchtower itself was encouraging American Bible students to buy Liberty bonds to support the war effort. Now, Rutherford did these two things because he was about to go on trial for sedition. So he took part in the National Day of Prayer, and he encouraged American Bible students to buy Liberty bonds to support the American war effort, simply as a defense when he went on trial, that he could give this as a defense in court.
I don't know about that. I mean, some of it rings true. I must admit, some of it I've heard before. But as I say, you're going back, 100 years. We like to think we've come a long way from then. And if we have made mistakes like that, as I say, the lights got brighter and we've all had hands up and apologised. But as for actually going in and, killing people, I know where you're coming from. But it seems to me that, for a man that's done research like that, you're not interested about, having a Bible study or this, that and the other.
What is a Bible study? What would I be committing myself to?
Because I'll tell you now, I won't give you one, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because I can tell where you're coming from, and to me,
what is that? I've never been a Jehovah's Witness. I've never been a Jehovah's Witness in my life, sir.
Yeah,
I've got a Bible here. I put my hand on the Bible. I have never been a Jehovah's Witness. I used to be a Oneness Pentecostal in the 1980s. Then I left and I joined a Baptist church briefly, and I tried a few others, and then I gave up. And then in the early 2000s, I tried a few more churches, a Baptist and a Pentecostal church. But I've never been a Jehovah's Witness, sir.
Right. Well, why don't you come down to one of our meetings then?
Well, I don't go to any religious meetings. I mean, why don't you go to the Mormons? Why don't you go to the Mormon church and attend all meetings in the Mormon church?
Because I don't need to. I'm a Jehovah's Witness.
Right, well, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't need to go to all meetings.
I am. I was a nominal Christian before I became a Jehovah's Witness. My parents raised me as a Christian, which I thought I went to church, but I became a Jehovah's Witness later on in life. So
Why?
I found because I believe I found the true religion. As simple as that.
Jesus said at Matthew 11:28, "Come unto me, all you who are heavily laden, and I will give you rest." So surely the true faith is a faith in Christ. It's not a case of going to some man-made organization, be it the Catholic organization or the Mormon organization or the Seventh-day Adventist organization or the Jehovah's Witness organization.
We believe that the true God is using this organisation, and that's Jehovah God. We believe he's using this. It carries his name.
How can you prove that?
Well, can I prove it? I don't need to prove it to myself. I mean, I've proved it to myself. I'm convinced that this is the right religion, and I've no intention of leaving it. Simple as. If I went out of this religion, I wouldn't join another one. I'd worship something else, my car, my football team, or whatever. But I certainly wouldn't join another religion.
Which football team is that? Which football team is that?
Well, that's my.
Oh, go on. Share that secret with me.
No. Well,
I'm a Liverpool supporter. supporter.
Well, there you are. Then they used to have in the Kop, didn't they? Kenny Dalglish is God. That's what they said.
Well, I certainly do not approve of that at all. Today, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York, one of the main Watchtower corporations, gets share dividends from arms companies through the Henrietta M. Rowley Trust. I've got about 10 years of accounts from the early 2000s to about 2016, when they were awarded just under $700,000 from the Henrietta M. Rowley Trust. She's a woman who died in 1945. She was very wealthy. She bequeaths all her assets be turned into shares. Yeah. It's called the Henrietta M. Rowley Trust. It's administered by the Commercial Bank of Detroit for a fee. They don't do it for nothing. And then after the accounts are presented to the IRS, the American tax authorities, and maybe there are some taxes that are payable, I don't know the financial situation, the accounts are published, Henrietta M. Rowley Trust, And you can see that the sole beneficiary is the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York. And some of the investments are in arms companies, such as Northrop Grumman, which makes the B-2 bomber. That's the black triangular bomber. The Americans are incredible when it comes to military technology. They're releasing the B-21 next year, which is the more advanced stealth bomber. And that's before any European nation has even built their own version of it. They also get share dividends from Northrop Grumman, which makes the B-2 bomber, and Honeywell, which makes the HIMARS missile system, which has been tested in Ukraine extensively. So the Watchtower gets share dividends from companies like that.
But I mean, I'll take your word for it, but I can't answer it. I'm sure if our organisation knew, surely they would do something about it. I can't believe for $700,000 or whatever.
It's not all. No,
the thing is, the thing is, you researched around the organisation. You haven't you're not looking to get in. Either come to a meeting or have a Bible study as
I'm willing to have look. If I have a Bible study, I'm not signing up for the next 15 years to attend every meeting and wear a suit and tie and stand beside a cart. But I'm willing to open your book, Enjoy Life Forever, and read it. The problem I have is what happens if we read Enjoy Life Forever, and it's quite apparent to me that after 40 years of attending Jehovah's Witness meetings, you know nothing at all about the Bible, your religion, and the history of your religion, and you don't know anything about other religions. All you can do is parrot phrases and jargon that you've been taught, which you don't even understand. Why do I need to study? This is why I left the Pentecostal and the Baptist church. I found out that, you know what, the people who were in leadership didn't know what they were talking about. They don't want to listen to me, and that's fine. I don't have to attend all these meetings and listen to Pastor's son whittle on about something that he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that with my life, and I just chose not to. I chose to walk away from it because at the end of the day, I came to the conclusion that although I believe there are certainly some genuine Christians, I've met some good genuine Christians in Baptist churches over the years. I was baptized 40 years ago, actually, 1985. That was as
a child, you mean?
No, I'm in my 60s now. I was in my 20s. I was baptized at a Pentecostal church called Peniel Chapel in West London, quite near to Kensington Temple. I think it's been renamed a community church now. But in the end, what really has the problems I've had is that I found out that most of the Christian people, my background was in fundamentalism, evangelicalism. And I came to the conclusion that most people in those sort of churches don't know what they're talking about. They're clueless. They just make it up as they go along. But they talk with absolute certainty. I have the Holy Spirit, my brother. I know the Trinity is true. Hallelujah. And when you actually sit down and talk with them, you find out that not in every case, but in many cases, they are clueless. They absolutely don't know even the basics of their own faith. And I thought, look, I don't have to listen to this anymore. And I just walked out. And it's one of the best things I ever did. I found that there was no love or friendship from many people. I was very lonely when I was going to church. And people, many of them just avoided me because they don't like people who read the Bible and study the Bible. They want gullible people who they can manipulate and pay the tithe. You know, pastor needs his new Mercedes. You've got to give him pastor his new Mercedes. I mean, it's not quite the same here in the UK because for love or money, they can't get many people to attend church. But certainly in Africa and in America, but certainly in places like Nigeria, it's all about paying money to the pastor. And, you know, I came to the conclusion that there are some genuine Christians and a whole range of different religious groups. I met a Christadelphian once. I won't say where this was, and I won't give his name, but I actually wanted to know about the Christadelphian, so I attended a Christadelphian meeting somewhere in Devon. I won't say where. And he pulled me to one side before I went into the meeting. He said, are you Robert Skinner? I said, yes. He said, "Oh, yes, I've got something to tell you in confidence," he said. "I believe passionately in the doctrine of the Trinity." Now, Christadelphians believe the Trinity is pagan. They're similar to Jehovah's Witnesses in their anti-Trinitarianism. I believe passionately the Trinity, Christ's deity, his sinless birth, his bodily resurrection. As far as I'm concerned, the man was a Christian. But he had family members in the Christadelphians, so he had to keep quiet for the sake of his family and gradually introduce him to the fact that he had now changed. He no longer accepted Christadelphian doctrines. He now accepted the Trinity and traditional Christian beliefs. I also met a Jehovah's Witness. In fact, I don't think I met him. I think I spoke to him on the phone many years ago. I can't even remember the person's name. If I knew it, I wouldn't give it. But he was in the same situation. He was a Jehovah's Witness who said, I reject it all. He said, I've come to the conclusion that Jesus Christ is fully God and fully man. I accept the Trinity. And he was a Jehovah's Witness. So
he can't be a Jehovah's Witness then, can he?
Well, he was attending all the meetings. He had some sort of position. I think he was an elder or a ministerial servant, and he had family. You see, so he couldn't just stand up and announce it because his family might not talk to him. So he had to do things gradually. So I believe that there are genuine Christians in a whole range of different groups. Just one other thing about the Henrietta M. Riley Trust. One of their investments is in Lionsgate Entertainment, which does make films, secular films, but they also deal in soft pornography. And the Watchtower gets share dividends from that too. Right. So I feel if the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society were godly, they would not accept this money.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seems to me, I mean, I don't know, as I say, I find it amazing if they do, but it seems to me that you're coming from an angle where you've investigated the Watchtower, and instead of looking, I mean, all right, you've got to take the whole, I understand that, and it's like, if you support Liverpool, you don't just come in and support Liverpool, you get the history of Liverpool, of before you came in as a supporter and what they won and this, that and the other. I understand that, but it seems like you've gone to the other end first, and you've investigated the Watchtower. It looks like...
I'm told this all the time. Just less than an hour ago, I was speaking to a senior Muslim from Luton, and I was quoting the Quran, and the Muslim would not look at two verses from the Quran, Surah 7:157 and Surah 5:47. It just got heated. We were shouting at each other, but he would not read the Quran. Right. And I've been told many times, I take it as a compliment, that I know more about various people's religion than they do. I was told that by a Seventh-day Adventist.
Obviously, if you're looking for, if you like, the true religion or the true Christian religion, and you're not happy with what you've just read about the Watchtower, about them doing this, that, and the other, then in your eyes, then this cannot be what I'm saying is the true religion, and the search continues for you, doesn't it?
No.
There's 10,000 Christian denominations.
No, there is no true religion. It doesn't exist. There's only Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Matthew 11:28. Jesus Christ did not say, "Go and knock on the door of this building, because this is the true religion." He said, "Come unto me." Not some building or some pastor or some priest or some governing body or some prophet or apostle. Christ said, Matthew 11:28, "Come unto me, all you who are heavily laden, and I will give you rest." The eternal Sabbath rest in Christ is through Christ. It's not given to us through the Pope and the papacy. We don't need to go to the Catholic Church with the bells and smells. We don't need the Mormons and their prophet. We don't need happy clappy Pentecostals rolling on the floor and going la ba ba shanda rakundra nama mahindra and pretending that they're super spiritual when really they're at best they're talking garbage, but they're just immature at best. But often I think...
There are other scriptures. If you look at the Bible, Matthew 24:14 talks about, preaching the good news. This good news will be preached, not might be. Will be preached in all the inhabited earth. If you look at Acts 20 verse 20, it
I
says
prefer to do one thing at a time slowly. I don't like to be slam dunked by numerous verses and numerous arguments. One thing at a time slowly.
Well, I'm just saying in Matthew 24:14 it talks about this good news has to be preached in all the inhabited earth for a witness to all the nations.
It doesn't say in that verse that the only group preaching that good news is the Mormons. It doesn't say in that verse the only group preaching that good news are the Christadelphians. It doesn't say in that verse the only group preaching this good news are the Jehovah's Witnesses. It doesn't say in that verse the only people preaching that good news is Brother Benny Hinn on Trinity Broadcasting Network.
It says the good news of the kingdom. There's only Jehovah's Witnesses that preach the good news of
No, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. But according to the Mormons, you preach a false gospel. According to the Mormons, they're the only ones who obey that verse. According to Sun Jeonji, which is a South Korean group, very similar to Jehovah's Witnesses, their leader, Mr. Lee, claims he's the faithful and discreet slave appointed by Christ in 1966. According to Sun Jeonji, they are that group preaching the good news, obeying Matthew 24:14. Every other group claims that verse applies to them and not to you.
We agree to disagree. That's all I can say.
I don't agree. I don't agree with these groups. When the Mormons say they're the only ones who preach the good news in Matthew 24:14, I don't agree with them. So don't make an assumption about me that's incorrect. I'm just pointing out that when you
apply... The Mormons do not preach about the kingdom.
They say they do. Of course they do. They say they do, and they say you're wrong.
Well, yeah, they say, well, fair enough.
And the Seventh-day Adventists say that they're the only ones preaching the gospel, and that you and the Mormons are wrong. And then Sun Jeonji say they're the only ones preaching the gospel, and you, the Mormons, and the Seventh-day Adventists are wrong.
Well, it's up to you then to keep on looking and find the right one in it, the right path.
There is no right one. There's only Christ.
If there is no right path, why are we having this conversation? Why did you want to look into the Bible? Why did you want to ask about Jehovah's Witnesses?
Because
when it seems to me only you're argumentative.
Well, are you saying that I should... I've never met you. Saying that I must agree with everyone I meet? When I speak to a Muslim, let me finish my...
All I've seen from you is that you're attacking, and attacking. And to me, that is in the form of apostate. You say you haven't been a Jehovah's Witness. I've never been a...
Sir, I put my hand on...
I can understand that, but you're coming across like an apostate to me. And I'm going to end this conversation now. We don't need to have any other further conversation. Best of luck in whatever you're doing.
Why are you afraid? If this is the fruit...
I just don't need to waste my time talking to someone who's attacking the religion that I believe in.
I can't attack the truth. If you have the truth, it can withstand any criticism.
Well, I believe we have got the truth, but I don't want to listen to
But you can't defend it because it's a paper tiger.
I can't defend some of the stuff you're coming out with about this Henrietta, what is it, or whatever. I don't know. I cannot believe that our society, if they know like you know, there's no way they would take money from that. I'm sorry, but that's what I believe in.
How about...
We've made mistakes in the past. It's easy to pull up the past of 100 years ago of where we did things wrong. I can understand that.
How about...
But at least we weren't German Catholic killing English Catholic, German Mormon killing English Mormon or American Mormon.
I've never been in the military, sir. Don't point the finger at me and accuse me of doing something that I haven't done. I've never been in the military.
I'm just telling you that we don't go to war in the sense as Catholics killing Catholics.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
We're the only religion that does not go to war.
That's not true. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York receives share dividends from arms companies today, and that is hypocrisy.
I've only got your word for that, and so I'm going to end.
What about the Watchtower admitting that they violated neutrality in the Second World War? Oh, well. The yearbook, 1983 yearbook, page 97 to 98, they admit that during the Second World War, in Australia, not America, not worldwide, just in Australia, The Australian Bethel, that means the Australian head office, violated neutrality during the Second World War. And there's more detailed information about this in a watchtower from the 1st of June 1947, page 173, where they admitted that young people who went for Bethel service, that means they were volunteering to serve the watchtower, some of them were sent to work on military bases, to work in canteens on military bases to free up the troops who, rather than work in canteens, could fight the Japanese. And also, it said, quote, they were sent to, quote, working in machine shops producing instruments of war. And this is a reference to the Taylorcraft Aircraft Corporation. The Taylorcraft Aircraft Corporation was owned by a wealthy Jehovah's Witness called Mr. Taylor, and during the Second World War, all production was switched to military aircraft to support the war effort in the fight against the Japanese. And Taylorcraft used many Jehovah's Witnesses, including Bethel workers, who rather than work at Bethel would be sent to Taylorcraft to produce military aircraft. So this is just sheer hypocrisy. This is the problem with so many religious people. There's a sort of investment. They've invested so many years in these religions. Doesn't matter what it is, evangelicalism, Catholicism, Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnesses, it doesn't really matter which, that they can't think. They can't think critically of the group because they couldn't possibly accept that they've wasted their life or that they've made serious decisions that are wrong. And therefore, it would be so humiliating for them to realize that, you know, I've been a Jehovah's Witness for 40 years. They've been lying to me for 40 years, and I've swallowed these lies. They don't want to admit to that. So it causes cognitive dissonance, it causes stress, and they therefore just have to walk away and deny it. One final thing, and I don't have much detail about this, but there is a company called now it's had various names because companies do change their names quite frequently. And in fact, the Watchtower does this regularly. So when they're taken to court, sometimes cases against the Watchtower are thrown out of court because they can't get the name of the Watchtower correct. Sometimes it's Watchtower, one word. Sometimes Watchtower is two words, and so on. They use simple legal tricks like that. And now, there is the Ramcan Engine Corporation, and it's a privately held company, and 50% of the stock was at some time owned by the Watchtower Society and 30% by James McCann, and the balance by several other shareholders. Now, what probably happened was a major shareholder died and they bequeathed the shares to the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. Whether they kept them for several years or whether they sold them the next day, I don't know, but the Watchtower did accept these shares, probably when somebody died. Now, the Ramcan Engine Corporation makes small engines for drones, and it's used an awful lot. The Ramcan engines are popular with the US Navy because they have ceramic parts in them. Engines turn very quickly, as you know. The metal gets hot, and sometimes metal can weaken when it gets hot. So if you make engine parts out of porcelain, not all the engine, but some parts out of porcelain, it can get very, very hot, but it's not going to melt or weaken. So the US Navy uses Ramcan Engine Corporations in its drones, which drop bombs on people to kill people. And the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society accepted, I think it was over 5 million shares in the Ramcan Engine Corporation, probably when somebody died and they were bequeathed to them in their will. I mean, this corporation, the Watchtower, it's just sheer hypocrisy from start to finish. Now, I'm going to finish there, but I would ask a final request of people, and that is that I've lost my YouTube channel. Iglesiani Christou complained, and I had made the mistake of putting over 4,000 videos onto one channel. It just takes 4 complaints and the whole channel goes down. What I'm asking people to do, as it's too much, I cannot upload 4,000 videos to YouTube and make new videos and edit videos. It's too much for me. If people want to help me, at the start of this video and the other videos, you will find an email address in the title screen at the bottom. Email me, and if you're able to, maybe I can send you 50 or 60 videos. I'd be very grateful if, 40, 50 people could do this. I send you 40, 50 videos. You upload them to your own channel. I don't want any money. If you monetize them, fine. You've got my full permission to upload them, and if you make money out of them, I don't want a penny. You keep the money. But the only way really I can get my videos back onto YouTube, as I don't have the time to make 50, 60 channels with 50, 60 different email addresses and logons and then load them up. I'm sorry, I'm just too old. I'm in my 60s. I can't do that. But if people can help me, if you've got a YouTube channel or you've got channels on other media, can I send you videos and then you can upload? I really would appreciate people's help in this, because this work is getting too much for me. Thank you.